Now, let's move on to Philippines, where our contributor Camille Elemia made her way to Marikina City, home to the country's shoe industry. I wish you like this one.
I hope.
Because you are a shoe, I think you are a shoe fan.
I am a
Yes.
bit fanatic about shoes. Now, in Philippines, and especially in this particular city, some of the country's largest footwear manufacturer are here or are there to be made. Let's take a look.
This is Marikina City, home to the Philippines shoe industry. Some of the largest shoe manufacturers are here, but behind doors and small backroom workshops and offices, a new kind of shoe industry is taking shape. This is Buddy Tan, a second-generation shoemaker. He owns Black Wing Shoes. His company makes personalized shoes that are measured to fit. He's also trying to change the way the industry works, once the bread and butter of the city that has lost its shine.
So a lot of people don't actually know their proper shoe sizes, so when they order something online, it usually turns out that if you give them, let's say, if they order a size 8, because that's what they get on commercial brands, if you provide them with a size 8 from Marikina, apparently the shoe doesn't fit. So normally it's a couple of sizes too big. So eventually what happened was, I just started taking measurements of clients just to avoid returns, which eventually turned into a custom shoe service.
But Buddy Tan sees the custom shoe making as a way to help the entire shoe industry as a whole.
As a personal endeavor, it's a proof of concept on what Marikina can actually do to revive its shoe industry. Not at the big scale where we have mass manufacturing, exports, and all that, but how to revive the industry for the smaller players, the mom and pop shops. So this is a business model that they can subscribe to. Well, that was the goal. Because instead of just doing subcontracting work for the bigger brands or for the online sellers, they can actually start their own small brands, develop their own markets and their own following, and provide a very niche service that gives them better value for their work.
Buddy says that shoe demand is cyclical and that in 2023 and 2024, we are entering a new cycle where custom fitting shoes will be in demand due to the needs of the younger generation that is maturing. He says recently they've had a spike of teens with shoe sizes of 13 or 14. But to change the dying shoe business in the city, he first sees a need to professionalize an industry that is still populated by contractual workers. Workers who are paid either by the day or by the number of shoes they produce.
Because when people are financially secure, it gives them more time to actually do research. It actually gives them more time to think about how they would improve their products, instead of just going along with the day-to-day tasks. So right now, people are being treated like equipment instead of professionals. So what we want is to bring back, or what I do want, hopefully, is to bring back that level of professionalism when you say you're a shoemaker, you're an expert. You're an expert at making shoes, not just somebody who can manufacture shoes.
Buddy says the change in the industry has to be more fundamental. That instead of copying what's being done in other countries and trying to compete in their own game, the Philippine shoe industry could try to look at building cooperatives, which Buddy says can help the Philippine industry be more competitive.
He says that the Philippine shoe industry can be very competitive in Southeast Asia and that the solution lies with the veteran shoemakers who hold the knowledge and the techniques and who can teach the next generation of shoemakers. While the direction Filipino politicians are making is towards mass manufacturing of shoes, Buddy says Marikina craftsmen have the skill and the know-how to revive the once great Marikina shoe industry. That is what he's trying to do, and it is catching on.
Shifting their job description so that they could train the next generation how to make good shoes by hand would create a new market. Will allow us to compete in an ASEAN market where there is relatively few competitors, with only some makers, a few makers in Vietnam and Indonesia would actually be able to to say we'd be able to say would be the main competitors. Because Malaysia doesn't really have a robust shoe industry or custom shoemaking industry. Singapore has, but Singapore has really expensive. Their local shoes, their local handcrafted shoes, could be really expensive. What we could offer here is something a little bit more competitive.
Now there are Kota Marikina shoemakers that have been changing the way Filipinos buy shoes. And the future looks promising as these artisans and the keepers of the art make change happen, one shoe at a time. Camille Elemia, See Today, Manila.